welcome to Bethan's Kitchen and Garden. Today, as promised, I'm going to be putting in my sweet corn and beans, but before I do that I need to clear away my garlic bed so I can put the sweet corn in. So let me show you what the bed is looking like and how the garlic's looking, and then we'll crack on and get the sweet corn in. This is my garlic bed, which was looking pretty good up until, well, until about yesterday really, where it's got an awful lot of rust on it all of a sudden. It was looking quite green, and I'm not really sure what's happened, but it's probably time it came out now anyway. So I'm going to clear away this bed. I'm going to leave the garlic out in the sun for a bit. My shallots this side are well and truly bolted anyway, so they need to come out too. So I shall just empty the bed, and I'll show you what it's looking like once I've done. I also forgot to mention that I'll be harvesting these shallots from here as well, and then in this place I'm going to be putting 4 gherkin plants, and I'll be putting something for it to climb up here, but I'll show you that a bit later on. So I'll add these to the ones at the back, and then I'll show you the harvest all together. Right, we'll start from the worst to the best. It's probably the best way to go. There's the sweet corn and green beans ready to go in, but this bed is really dry, really dry. So what I need to do is I just need to give it a real good water, and I'm also going to feed it with some liquid seaweed at the same time, and then I'm going to cover the top bit with some fresh compost, and hopefully that will be good enough for the sweet corn and beans to grow in. Now, these are my elephant garlic. I haven't really got anything to sort of show you the size. If I put my hand, as you can see, it's not a great size. It's just a normal garlic size really. Some of the garlics I've pulled out are the same size as this. So me and elephant garlic are not very good, to be honest. I've never had much success, and this one has even got a leek miner in it, so maybe some of them, the other ones, have got leek miner as well, but I'll go through it and have a look. Move on to the shallots here. Now, not a bad return from the shallots really, but they are more like big spring onions than shallots. I don't think they last very long because they had bolted, and you can see they did split, but they obviously started bolting and then the bulb wouldn't bulb up anymore. So I guess I'll just be treating these like a normal onion, and I'll cook with some of them and I'll cut some up and freeze them. That's probably the best way of attack really. And then I've laid out the other garlic over here on these 2 beds. We'll start with this side first because this is saved seed. This is garlic from saved seed, and from what I can see, absolutely none of them have split into cloves, so they're kind of like just one big bulb of garlic, which is fine. I can cook with that, that's not a problem. It's just a shame it didn't grow much bigger, because I would have had a decent harvest from them if they had grown a bit bigger. But I did get a good end product. The amount I've got from one saved seed, or maybe 2 saved seed, I think that's a good return, because a lot of the time I've had some that have just rotted away, so sometimes I've only ended up with maybe half of what you see there. So I think in that way that is a good harvest. It's just not very big. And this one, I'm reasonably pleased. This has got to be the best harvest of garlic I've had. So I just run along here. This is Marco. I bought 2 cloves, I think. It might have been 2 or 3. I planted them last September, October time. And they are all looking fairly good. I think I had one, there it is, one that had split. That's the only one I could see so far that has split. That's fine, that's no problem at all. So I'm very happy with this harvest of garlic. So this year my shallots have not been very good, but my garlic is okay. Last year my garlic was dreadful and my shallots were alright. I've also got my onions in my neighbour's garden to harvest because I was over there weeding the other night and I noticed a few of the necks have flopped down and they are overwintered onions, so I reckon probably now is the time to pull them out. And ironically they are more the size of like pickling onions, so they're more they're more what I would have done if my shallots had turned out really well. I would have pickled some shallots for my husband, but instead I'm going to pickle some of those onions because I don't think they'll keep that long and they're not that big, but I'll show you that a bit later on when we get to it. I'm going to go and tackle that bed now, do what I said I was going to do, and plant it up, and I'll bring you back when that's done. Here's the bed with the beans and the sweet corn all planted up. As usual, it took more room than I was expecting because I was thinking I would have a little bit of space here, but alas no. I've got some spring onions down there that I planted last October, I think, and they are beginning to bulb up, so they'll be good for a salad probably when the cucumbers are ready as well. So over here I'm about to go and do the climbing beans in the front trough, or barrel rather, but I have been potting up the last of these melons this morning because basically I need to go and get some more multi-purpose compost, and I wanted to get this lot done today because I can get the compost tomorrow when it's meant to be raining. So I've filled that with a mixture of about 1/3 spent compost and 2/3 fresh compost and some perlite, and I will use that to fill the barrel that I'll show you now. Here's one of the barrels that I'm going to be putting my climbing beans into. It's just by the raspberry bed at the top of the drive. I've already filled it with some wood chips. These are rotted wood chips that were at the bottom of those crates I moved from around the back. So I dug the wood chip up and I thought, well, I'll keep that because it's a good base for things. So I'm now going to add a small amount of topsoil to that just to bulk it out a bit, and then I'll put that compost you just saw in the barrow into here, and I'll show you this when I've filled up the compost and I'm doing the TP. But I want to go and do something in the shade for a bit because it's warm. So whilst there's a tiny bit of shade here, I want to get these gherkins in. So they are desperate to get in to the ground. They've got flowers on and all sorts. So I'm going to get 4 gherkins in along here, and then I'm going to use some bamboo canes to make a sort of trellis for them. So I've got them 2 in. Just going to plant this 3rd one now. With there's about 30 centimetres between each plant. Kind of, a couple of years ago I planted them over the allotment at that depth, at that width, with that distance between them rather, and they did well over there. So I'll just get this last one in. Look, my Swedes have, I think, been eaten by slugs in my neighbour's greenhouse. this bed I've just topped up with fresh compost, and I also put some what did I put? Some 6X chicken manure in there, so hopefully it'll have enough feed now to get going. So I'm going to get on now with doing this bamboo trellis here, and I'll show you what it's looking like when I'm done. Okay, hopefully that will be sufficient to see them growing through the season. I didn't want the grid to come up too high because I wanted it to be, you know, look quite nice. So they look happy. I've tied them in. Hopefully they'll romp away now. Hopefully we'll have some rain tomorrow and that will really settle them in. Right, on to those beans. Here's the barrel full, and there's the teepee going up there, and here are the beans. As you can see, they are really ready to get in. So I've got 27 beans overall, so that's 14 beans and 13 beans in each barrel. So I shall sort of do, well, I don't know how I'm going to get 14 beans in here. I mean, I'll put some in the front, some in the back, some to the side. We'll have a look. Probably I've put 7 canes in, so it'll be 2 beans per pole. I just want to make sure that they all sort of got equal space, as it were, and can just, you know, maximise their potential really. So anyway, I'll get on with planting those up, and I'll show you what it's looking like when I'm done. Here's the planter all complete. Hopefully a lot of these will find their own way. I've wrapped all of them around, but some of them are a bit loose, but hopefully they'll tighten themselves up. I always feel it's better for them to do it themselves than to tie them in, but I might tie them in if they flop all over the place. So around here then I will just put a mishmash of different containers, maybe a couple of the ones with the artichokes in, and I have over there some Nymphophia growing, which is just, one of them has just put the stalk up, so they might look nice around the barrels as well. But I am now going in for lunch. I was just passing the strawberries as I was going in for lunch, and I noticed there were loads of them ready for picking. This is our second picking. The first one we probably had about half this amount, and some of them are white underneath, but they will ripen on the windowsill, and I'd rather us have them than the birds. So it's always better to pick them when they're just slightly underripe if you have bird problems. But these are the best strawberry harvest I have ever had, honestly. That last year I probably had about half of that for the whole season, and the year before. So I'm really pleased with these. They do need a water after I've had my lunch, but that will be a job for later on. I'll catch you in a bit. It's the next day and we have had the promised downfall, although apparently there is more to come. So I've dashed out in between the rain, and this is the job I'm going to get on with next. I really want to give this cold frame a good clean, and then put the melon plants into the cold frame so they can start growing for the rest of the season. So I got a lot, well, not a lot, but there are some bits I need to sort out there, and then I'll move the whole cold frame off. The lids come off that cold frame, which makes it much lighter to move. So I'll move it all off onto here, and I can give the whole patio a sweep, and then hopefully I'll get the melons in place. So I'll bring you back when all that is done. Well, that's the cold frame all cleaned up and the melons put into place. There are 4 watermelons and then those 3 melons in the middle. If I get a chance, I might try and run some bamboo canes around the side here so that the melons, so that the plants have something to run along. But I'm not really sure if they need that. They could just drape on the floor. But I kind of feel like they might do better if they are strung around the edge a little bit more. But we'll see. We'll see if I get around to doing it. Well, I finished that just in time as it's beginning to start to rain now. So I'm going to put the lid on the cold frame, leave it slightly ajar though, and that's my jobs for today done. So I'm very pleased with what I've managed to get done so far. It's always so nice when things get into their final positions and you just know to go there and water, you know, rather than faffing around with watering this and potting on that and so on and so forth. But anyway, I'm going to go in now because I'm going to be getting soaking wet in a minute. So that's it from me for today. Thank you for watching, liking, commenting and subscribing if you have done so. It's really appreciated. And all I can say about my work today is lovely job.